Good morning, multipliers.
Good morning, Judah. How are you, baby doll?
I'm doing pretty good, sweetie.
You guys doing good? It's I tell you, we did not get to do a review last week. We love doing reviews. We love the movies. We haven't been very much for the last several weeks, and we had the opportunity to go tonight. We went. We enjoyed it. We saw Warcraft. A video game movie, Judah. Video game movies are like so risky.
I haven't seen very many, to be honest.
Well, some of you may not like. There's been like the Super Mario movie that came out in like the 80s. It was horrible. Actually, I don't believe I've ever seen it, but I've heard it is horrendous. One of the worst movies ever made. There's been like a couple Hitman movies.
About Pixels, would that be considered?
I mean, it was like a video game inspired, but it was not a video game movie. But besides the fact, this is Warcraft. This is a kind of Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia-esque movie, I would say, wouldn't you? It takes place that these orcs they destroyed their world. They decide they're going to come and they're going to take ours instead through some portal. There's a lot of stuff going on. The world's interesting, I would say, wouldn't you, Judah?
Yeah, I would. I agree.
There's some interesting characters. I mean, it was one of the better done video game movies that I have seen. They had so you have the orcs, you have different like clans of the orcs, and we're kind of following one in particular, and then the whole horde, I guess is what they call it. The horde of them that are going out there. And then there's like the humans and a lot of the other mystical creatures. We don't really see a lot of them.
Yeah, not really.
And so we kind of watch this. We see this. We're thrust into this world, into this thing that's happening. We're kind of torn between a couple sides. And I gotta say, guys, like I was gonna say, this movie was decent. I really was surprised, honestly. I was very nervous going in. It's a lot of CG. I would have rather, personally, to see more practical effects, because there's moments in time, especially, where you're sitting there looking at it, and there's like the orcs, and you're like, that looks really, really, really fake. And it pulls you out of the movie because you're noticing it looks just weird and off because it's not real. And I think they made a mistake going there. I don't know about you, Joe, but I do.
Yeah, I agree. I think more real is always better. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you even look at some like the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff like that. You see the first Lord of the Rings versus the Hobbit. You can see there's a lot of differences between how it looks natural.
They still did it very well.
Oh, definitely.
Better than this.
Better than this one. But. And I don't mean the effects were still good, but I think what I would have to come down to, guys, in this is that the Warcraft it's an interesting story, but it could have been done better, which, I mean, you could say about any movie, but truthfully, there were some parts where they didn't execute on. I think there were some poor casting choices here, too. Some people, I mean, literally, several of the characters just didn't feel like they fit into the world. The way the actors themselves, I don't feel like they embodied the character, which, once again, pulls you out a little bit. The CG was a big thing, and the story could have been more... I don't know, it could have been more, I guess, is the one thing I can say. The parental guide was actually, I mean, there's some violence, but there's not a ton of blood or anything like that. There's not a ton of language. There's no sexual content at all, really. And so, parental guide's actually fairly decent. There is some wizardy stuff in there and some, like, frightening characters and, like, some stuff like in that sense that definitely is something to look out for, especially if you're more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Young?
Well, conscious of those things. Some people, it means a bigger deal than the others. So if that's something is important to you, you wouldn't want to go see this movie. I think this movie could have been great. I feel like it was on the verge, but it just didn't execute on a few key points. I think it's still worth seeing. I think it's something maybe would be like a DVD movie. Wait till it comes out. It is big and cool to see on the theater, on the big screen, all the speakers and everything like that. But once again, not one I feel like you need to rush out and see.
Agreed.
All in all, Jill, what are we going to give it? I think we're going to give it like a 6.2.
Yeah, I was thinking around that, 6.5, something like that.
6.2 seems fair to me. I mean, you said 6.5. I feel like a 6.2 because it could have been a 7. It also could have been a 5. And they met right there in the middle. They hit it. You know what I mean? They found that like right there where it could have been better, could have been worse. But it looks like we're going to have more of them. So that's our review of Warcraft. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. What are you going to do? Are you going to go see this movie? Is there something else you're thinking about seeing? We have not seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which we didn't really like the first one, so I'm not that excited about the second one. Yeah. We did see Me Before You. This week is, I think...
You Before Me.
Yeah. And then there's Central Intelligence this week, and another one, big one comes out of the way. I cannot remember what it is. Yeah, but anyways, on to the focus. Now, guys, this is hopefully, I think this is going to be a short focus, but we're just going to spend some time. Something really cool. I was actually talking to my mom about this today, and it sparked me, and I think it's something really neat that we could all gather something from, a bit of clarity. We're going to be in Isaiah chapter 40. We're going to be in two different verses, 12 and 22. And these are two amazing verses because they speak to God's character. And not only to God's character, I guess, to his amazingness and what he's shown us in this book. Now, if you're not aware, the Bible was written, completed 2,000 years ago, was written over the course of about 1,500 years by like 40 different authors, and truly is without blemish or flaw. And so here's something amazing, and that is that this passage right here. Let's take a second, let's read. How about I read 12, Jude, and you read 22, okay?
Okay.
It said, who has measured the water in the hollow of his hand, and marked off heaven with a span, and closed the dust in the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scale, the hills in a balance.
You want to describe what that means?
Why don't you
go ahead? Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll read and state.
22. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in.
So these are two passages that I'm going to break down for you because they're amazing. Okay, so my mom called me today. We were talking about some different things, but one of the things we talked about was this right here, and that's that. So she's doing a study, and the guy had brought this up, and I think it's so fascinating. But in 1959, Judah, there was a study done, a very important study, I guess. It was something enlightening. And that was that the earth is perfectly balanced. You might say, what does that even mean? It means that everywhere on earth, if there's a mountain on the bottom, there's a mountain to balance it up top. Everywhere that there on the earth is balanced. So that way when it rotates, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't move, it's balanced. It goes through. It's like when you were a kid, you had like one of those. Did you ever want like one of those little things to balance on your finger? You know, it's kind of like that. It's perfectly balanced. And you might say, okay, but here's the thing. This took till 1959, and I'm sure a team of researchers to figure this out, to map this, to understand the magnitude of this amazing thing, that it is a balanced thing. But here's in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22, it says that God balanced the earth when he made it, that he put everything in check. Now you might say that's already really neat, but then you flip over to 22, from 12 to 22 here, and it talks about that the earth is a sphere. And you might say, okay, Daniel, everybody knows the earth's a sphere, but you might forget that we did not realize it was not a widely held belief. In fact, it was completely to the contrary, that the earth was a sphere, because everybody thought the earth was flat till Columbus in 1492. So here the Bible is Isaiah talking about the fact that it's a sphere. Not only that, but it's a sphere, and it says it's floating. At this point in time, on top of that, it was believed widely when this portion of the Bible is written, that earth was on the back of a turtle shell in a giant celestial sea.
Yeah.
So the magnitude of this, Judah.
That's crazy.
The fourth knowledge, the thing that's in here, that this is here, is amazing. You know, and the reason I want to talk about this today, guys, is because there's a bit of clarity we can understand through this. This weekend it was riddled in disaster. From most of it down in Orlando. Then there was the stuff in Los Angeles. There was today I was watching. There was a bomb threat in St. Louis, not far from here, about 3.5 hours from here. St. Louis is stuff like that. And so there's all this stuff going on, and all this craziness going on. And yet here's a point which we can realize that God has, that He has given us, that He has shown us a bit of what's the word I'm looking for, Gina?
His glory?
His glory, His magnitude, His giving us knowledge. And you might say this is all stuff we know, but guys, I'm trying to say that this is something. We talk a lot about the Bible does not come up void. You search it, you prove it, you go after it. It will not fail you, will not come up void. And you see this from people like Lee Strobel and the gentleman who wrote Cold Case for Christ, or not Cold Case for Christ, but Cold Case Christianity. Two of them who were men who were devout atheists and sought to destroy, to defame, to prove the Bible flawed, who are now some of our biggest proponents out there writing books and everything. It's because the Bible comes up true, and we see evidences throughout the world. And even in times of struggle, in times of pain, we realize that our God is in control, that He is doing something great. That he is truthfully, as today, yesterday, and before, has been a God of knowledge, wisdom, and foresight. To understand and to show us, and that we can look back at a single moment in time and see that God did not hide this from us. That before it took man so long to prove it, God knew it already. Because, well, first off, he made it. But on top of that, he let us know we can look back and see it here in front of us. I don't know. I thought that was really cool.
I think it's really cool. I think it also shows that, like, God, like, he has the answers, and that we just need to seek him for
Absolutely.
those answers, you know?
You know, I'll say this in closing. There is a man in this world who I find incredibly interesting, Judah. He is one of the coolest guys ever. He's the real life Tony Stark, and you probably know by this point who I'm talking about, Elon Musk. I talk about him all the time, don't I, Judah?
You like him, yeah.
I like Teslas a lot. It's my dream car. I would love someday to have a Tesla. You know, that guy has changed the space industry. He has changed cars. He created PayPal. He's creating the Hyperloop. All these amazing things and so much more that this guy is on and involved in every day. But here's the thing. Him and another great scholar, or whatever you want to call him, is Neil deGrasse Tyson. Both of these incredibly intelligent men. You know what they just recently came out and said? Now, both these actually have said this before, but this has just come to the light of news recently. That they believe we are in a simulation. That an advanced alien race came in and started a simulation by starting the Big Bang and let it loose to simulate this. That we got here. This is a simulation we are in. Now, I say this because, guys, this is foolishness. This is downright stupidity. These are incredibly intelligent men. Nobody in their right mind would refute that about either of those men because they're geniuses. They're beyond. But here's the thing, guys. They are so hardened in their hearts that they refuse to acknowledge the possibility that there is a God. Mm-hmm. They would rather say some advanced alien race sparked some bang than a God and a creator designed them with a purpose. That their lives were laid out by him. That this is it. And the reason I want to talk about that is because, guys, you know, we see moments here where we can see something beyond just the rhetoric, but beyond just the words that people say. You know, so often we're called just to say, oh, you just got to have enough faith, sweetheart. You just got to do it. Lord bless your heart. And I love those people. And I think that's great. I think we need to have faith. There are times when faith is hard. Absolutely there are. But sometimes God gives us a nugget to see exactly what he's done. His foresight, his beauty, his knowledge, his greatness. And this is one of those moments. And the thing is, guys, I wanted to talk about this today because it brings me joy. And I hope it brings you joy too. And God's word absolutely does not come up void. It's true. It's here. All right, I've talked too much. I rambled on enough. I'm cutting the focus, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys let us know what you think God's doing in your life right now. Where are you at? What's your questions? Anything. Let us know in the comments down below, guys. We love to hear about it. Once again, our prayers go out to the people affected in the tragedies and everything, guys. But you know, I praise God that we do serve a living God who has long since known the secrets that we still cannot even begin to fathom. And he's in control. Let us know in the comments down below where you're at, guys. Are you going to see Warcraft this week? What are you going to do? Are you looking for the next movies coming out? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like what we do here, hit that thumbs up button to say you like this video. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, guys, because we put up content 5 days a week. It's a lot of work. And when you hit that little subscribe button, not only do you get to see our content, but it helps us because we get the joy of seeing that you appreciate what we're doing and you want to see more. It means the world to us. And yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's it, Judah. So as always, I'm Dan.
And I'm Judah.
God bless.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.